Hey guys, salut tout le monde.
Salut.
My name is Maya and I'm French.
I'm Charlie, I'm American, and we are Street French. So today we're going to talk about ça se fait, ça se dit. I really don't even know what this is called. I never learned this in French class. It's something that I hear all the time living in Paris. And it took me a little bit to understand, but it's really easy to use and it really takes your French to the next level. Okay, so if we say ça se fait pas, right, it means one does not do that thing, okay? Right, whatever we're talking about, it just means no one does that. Generally, people don't do that sort of thing. Like,
Yeah, ça se fait pas is kind of like a moral thing. Like, oh, you shouldn't do that. Like, ça se fait pas. Like, that's not the literal translation. It's not you shouldn't do that, but there's that moral thing behind it.
Yeah, for example, when we went to Japan and we noticed people don't really talk in the metro. It's not like a loud place.
Right.
And we asked one of our friends and she said, ça se fait pas.
Yeah. Or it can just be a rule thing. Yeah, that's true.
Or if we say ça se dit, it means does one say that, right? Like is generally can one say that kind of or yeah, and then you'd say oh ça se dit pas, oui ça se dit, and it just means can one do that thing, like whatever that verb is, and it's really dependent on the context as well because you'll be talking about something, right? Like you'll give an expression and you'll say oh is ça se dit.
Yeah, the ça refers to what you were talking before. It could be a word or anything.
I love sharing this with my private French students because it just really makes their French sound more natural. And like I said, it's super easy to use, okay? For example, let's say you're looking for a product in Paris, right? And like an American product or a product from the UK or whatever, it doesn't matter, right? And you can say, okay, this thing, ça se trouve à Paris. Ça se trouve à Paris. Like, as in one can find that in Paris. It just means like one can do that thing. But it's really easy to use this because all you do is change that verb and you keep it in that conjugation, that il, elle, on conjugation, right? Or sometimes I'll ask someone like ça se mange, as in is that edible? Like can one eat that? If we're talking about maybe like a new product or like some new like I don't know kind of mushroom or something that I've never seen before, right? Maybe I might ask that.
Yeah, if you travel somewhere and you encounter new types of foods.
Yeah, so that's how you say is that edible? And it's like a really natural way to ask that as well.
Ça se mange? Ça se mange ce truc?
Yeah, exactly. And the person might say oui, ça se mange. Or you could actually put another variation on it. You could say ça se mange comment? Ça se mange comment? Like if I'm eating a new kind of food that I've never had before and I'm not exactly sure how to eat it.
Right. Yeah, ça se mange comment? Ça se mange avec quoi? Ça se mange avec quoi? Ça se mange avec quoi?
One time I saw a friend and he was super tired. You can just clearly see on his face he was really tired. And I said, oh, t'as l'air fatigué. And then he's like, oui, ça se voit. As in one can see that. Or
Yeah,
like it's obvious.
Or he could have asked like, oh, ça se voit? Yeah. I guess you could use that for any types of things you're pointing out. Like, oh, ça se voit que c'est pas bien. Ça se voit que c'est pas bien. Or ça se voit que c'est pas bon. Ça se voit que c'est pas bon. So there's a lot of slurring.
Yeah.
Ça se voit que c'est. You could say ça se voit que c'est. But yeah, French people, we usually slur things.
Yeah, that's called la chute du E. If you're interested in that, you can check out this video we made about it. We'll explain that concept. Or this one time, I was talking to someone and I told him that I've been to France for several years, and he was like, "Ah oui, ça s'entend."
Oh,
Ça
nice.
s'entend.
Yeah, ça s'entend.
Yeah. And so you see how we're really just changing that verb, and you know it has so many different applications.
So a good thing to notice is that yes, it starts with the ça, and then there's a se in the verb, right? So it's kind of like a reflexive verb. We can't really explain why it's like that, it's just how it works, but make sure you don't forget to say se. And if it's a verb that starts with a vowel, like entendre, then it's a S apostrophe. So ça s'entend. Ça s'entend or ça se voit.
Yeah. And then again, it's going to be pronounced like ça se voit. Ça se voit.
Right, with la chute du E.
Yeah, because there's only one consonant that's pronounced, and like so we can drop that E sound. But again, we get into that in a lot more detail in our video about la chute du E.
Right.
Another variation on that would be ça peut se faire. Ça peut se faire. It means like one, you know, like it could be done kind of, or it depends on the context.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing because this really shows like maybe French mentality where it's it's never like fully, oh yes, we can do it or we're going to do it. It's like, oh, ouais, ça peut se faire. Like, if the wind blows in the right direction, it might happen. And so I was just laughing because it reminds me of that.
Right, so that's one variation that I can think of that you might...
Ça peut se faire.
Yeah, you might come across that. Also, you could replace ça with cela, and it becomes more fancy.
Yeah, I guess like ça is a newer form of cela, the more informal form. Today we don't use cela as much at all. It sounds way too formal.
Yeah, unless you're in a formal situation. In everyday life, people generally don't say cela.
Yeah.
It depends on the person's age, the socio-economic background, all of that.
Exactly. Like I would use it in a professional email. That's where we're like the most formal.
Yeah, definitely. When I write business French, I try to, sound fancy. So I use cela. Or if I was in court or something, maybe I would use cela.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll leave the link to the website L'Académie Française that explains a little bit the evolution of cela to the use of ça today. Of course, they're not big fans of ça, but they kind of explain the whole like evolution of it, and it's really interesting. If you're interested, you can go check it out. That's it for this lesson. If you came across ça, ce with other words or verbs, feel free to write in the comments below.
Yeah, if you've seen any other variations on it or if you have any questions on it, let us know down in the comments. We also have a series on French pronunciation. If you want to work on your pronunciation, make sure you check that out. We'll leave links to that down in the description. We have a free e-course if you're looking for more stuff like this to work on your conversational French, take it to the next level at StreetFrench.org. Check us out on Instagram. We're really present. We post every day. And if you want to support the project on Patreon, it is much appreciated.
That's it for this video and see you next time. Bye bye. Salut.